I really hope that this doesn't have no audio, but my earbuds are broken and I really want to invest in some Bluetooth headphones, but I can't decide between the Sony ones, and then like there's this other brand that I don't know how to pronounce. Honestly, I'm just gonna buy the Sony ones, but anyways. And I'm wearing the same shirt. But in the last video, I was talking about how I am done trying. My next video, I'm gonna talk about my stats. But I'm not even gonna lie, like another reason why I'm done with trying is because when I was a kid, I was at this ballet studio and I was really into ballet, right? So tell me why. So I was doing that with other kids of various ages, and I was like in between 12 and 14. And I was getting bullied by these girls, but that's not really the point, because the point is that I was trying really hard to be good at this program, and the first red flag was that it was a ballet school at a community college. So already like what? But it was like we had like an extremely dramatic head teacher, whatever, not gonna say his name, but just like some guy. And so he was like really influential and intense for no reason, right? But I was really trying to like whatever get on point and move up in the program. Mind you, the teachers, the guy who was the head of this ballet school was like always trying to degrade the students. So like there was these levels of the program called like beginner 1, beginner 2, or whatever, and then intermediate. Even though most of the dancers in the program were well beyond beginners and well beyond intermediate, they wanted to humble the kids. We had to wear our hair back in a bun, and we couldn't wear nail polish or anything. We couldn't accessorize ourselves, and we had to look like blank canvases. And high key, like there was a lot of favoritism. The dance instructor had a favoritism and preference for girls that were lighter. And then there were tons of girls there that clearly had other ballet training at a real school, and they only went to this ballet school so that they could do the really elaborate performances, because they were very professional and very valuable. But yeah, you had to pay a lot of money to be in this ballet school, and literally like the kids would give professional level, like all of us would give professional level performances every single time. So the kids there should have actually been getting paid for their performances, but instead they were paying to be in the ballet program, whatever. So this nigga was making like a ton of money off of these kids. Anyway, so I was trying really hard to get out of beginner 1 to get into beginner 2 or whatever, even though I definitely wasn't a beginner, but I was not the best person there. I met people there that were more talented than I ever encountered in my lifetime. And so I was trying really hard, right? I think that was the last time I tried. I think that was the last time I tried really hard at something. And the guy who I already told you about, the head of the program, tell me why he turned out to be raping like a bunch of the girls in the program and gave them AIDS. And by then I had already left the program. But anyway, so he had favorites, right? Niggas have favorites. Like, he had favorites within that ballet company, that ballet school. He had favorites. And so me trying that hard did not do anything. And I feel like whenever I try hard at something, I know that niggas have favorites. And it's just really hard for me to invest in things that I actually it's really hard for me to invest in institutional things like it's actually really difficult for me to invest in my own education or pursuit of or it's difficult for me to see the value in being graded in general. And I just don't feel need to obtain, I don't feel the need to pursue and then obtain my like credentials from other things or institutions and things like that, even though that program that I'm talking to you about was already been a scam, but like I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, like I was never gonna be a ballerina because that nigga had favorites and he went to jail and he still won't admit to the fact that he like raped a bunch of girls in the program, like kids, and transmitted a disease to them. So it's hard for me to try in life and to feel validated by others because I just don't care. And I miss the feeling of caring, like sure, I miss the feeling of caring about the jurisdiction and of people and respecting people and considering people older than me to be wiser than me, or you know what I'm trying to say. But I don't like and yeah. What else? I don't know why I felt the need to mention that, but it ties back into my last video. And I know I'm wearing the same shirt as my last video, but it was like a month ago. Okay. But yeah, that's another reason why I'm over trying for things. And But yeah, it is 2024. It's January now. I think it's January 4th, and I don't really know what type of time I'm on. To be honest, my sleep schedule was so messed up. Yeah, my sleep schedule was very messed up, and so I didn't see daylight for a long time because I was awake all night and then sleep when the sun was out. So I was really depressed, and I just like, as soon as 2024 hit, I was I just did not I felt really out of place as soon as this year started. But it's also because my sleep schedule is fucked. But what was I gonna talk about? Oh yeah. So I started a new journal, and one of my goals, okay, so my mom tell me why my mom sat us down at the table. I think it was the first day of January, and she was like, oh, share your New Year's resolutions. I don't remember my siblings' New Year's resolutions, but I think it was just about, like, my brother was talking about his grades and running, and then my sister, I don't really remember, but oh yeah, they both just wanted to get better grades. But yeah, so I said that my New Year's resolution was that I wanted to start collecting magazines, and I said that I want to start scrapbooking, which is just journaling but more intense. And then the next day, tell me why my dad gave me like a really old camera, a really old digital camera, right? Which I'm grateful for. But here's why I'm confused as to why he gave me that. He did not get me anything for Christmas. And I know that Christmas was a week ago, but he did not give me anything for Christmas. And then when he gave me that camera, he was kind of handing it to me as if it was like a really sacred, prized possession that I should really take care of, which is true, I should. And he also presented it to me as if I'm interested in photography. I'm not interested in photography, but I am probably the only offspring of his that would be interested in having a camera, but I'm not interested in photography. I'm interested in pictures. I'm not interested in taking pictures. I'm interested in looking at pictures and campaign ads, like magazines, obviously. So he gave me a camera, right? Here's the reason why I am confused by this. Well, I already told you. Actually, I don't actually know if he contributed to my Christmas, but he didn't give me anything for Christmas. And then he gives me this camera, even though I'm not interested in photography. And he could have asked, I'm interested in images. But anyways, I'm not interested in taking photos, but so he gave me this photo. He didn't contribute to anything for Christmas, but he's giving me an old camera that he no longer uses, and it's like expensive, but it's like also really old, and he has no use for it. But he's like giving it to me and didn't really teach me anything about how it works. But he's like giving it to me, acting like I'm supposed to be like really grateful for something that he didn't actually buy for me. Does that make any sense? And he didn't buy me anything for Christmas, and I'm also not interested in photography. I said that I was interested in magazines, and if you listen to my New Year's resolutions that I said at dinner, I said that I want to start collecting magazines. That doesn't mean that I want to take photos. And my mom is the one who made us say our New Year's resolutions, and my mom is the one who made New Year's dinner and Christmas dinner and bought all of our Christmas presents. And I want to feel really bad for my mom, but it's sad because here's the thing about like fathers. They think that everything that they do for their kids, even though they always end up doing less, but they feel like everything that they do for their kids is very sacred and special because they don't contribute often. So they feel like it's even more special for some reason. And they also feel like because they are a man, that makes their efforts, however few, more I don't even know, more like heroic. I don't really know, but it's really weird. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I am grateful for the camera, and I'm gonna use it, but that's not really a gift because he's just giving me something that he no longer uses. He didn't think of me, think of my personality, and then give me a gift because I've never expressed an interest in that. So that's kind of something that I wanted to complain about. Not complain, but I just wanted to mention that, like, and yeah, and the reason why my parents are together is because my mom has a really intense savior complex, which is also not aided by the fact that my dad is Nigerian and my mom is American and from a westernized country. So she has that white woman savior complex with my dad, and I feel like she kind of thinks my dad is slow, and she makes a lot of excuses and accommodations for men in general, which I get making accommodations for your man, but she makes a lot of accommodations for men in general and excuses for like lack of emotional intelligence, only lack of emotional intelligence in men, and she only makes excuses for niggas when they're slow. And I don't know, that just kind of pisses me off, and it doesn't help either that she got the credentials to acquire a nursing license and is a registered nurse while having a very intense savior complex. And I kind of found out that she had a savior complex because I was explaining like fufu and soup to somebody, but I wasn't explaining fufu and soup. I was explaining like some type of soup that has yams in it, and her ass gon' chip in, even though she don't even eat the shit. She gonna interject and say, it's called fufu. I wasn't talking about that. If I was talking about that, I would have explained it like that, but she thought I was explaining my own cultural dish slow. I'm not slow. I wasn't talking about fufu. Niggas that aren't even from West Africa know what the fuck fufu is. I wasn't explaining that, but she think like she has an extreme like savior complex. But yeah. So that's when I learned that, and I could put a word for that. But yeah, and then when it comes to my friendships with romantic undertones, I kind of I'm grateful that I've always had friendships with romantic undertones. And the reason why is because I haven't, you know, actually had to be suffocated by a real relationship with romantic undertones. I only had a friendship with, no, I didn't have like a real relationship with romantic overtones. I've had friendships with romantic undertones. So I can really reflect on and pinpoint why the relationship has romantic undertones, and I can really yeah, I can like what? Oh yeah, I can like zoom in on what things are the reason why we're not dating. Like I can, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because it had romantic undertones, I can find out what the thing is that I'm not attracted to them about, if that makes any sense. Like, because I keep on having the really close, like, intimate, whatever, friendships, and obviously I have no friends now, but I keep having, like, the close, intimate friendships, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually glad I kept having this repeatedly and never had to date any of these niggas, because now I'm aware of what I'm not attracted to and the reason why we weren't dating, and the way I know the characteristics that made them unattractive to me, and I can also not be friends with them anymore because they were draining my energy and, you know, really utilizing that my emotional labor, and yeah, and this is also way more emphasized with the fact that, you know, a lot of people are very male centered, and I wouldn't even say like, yeah, like, even though like people are gonna use my emotional labor regardless, yeah, people are gonna use my emotional labor regardless and use me as a rehabilitation center, or like a therapy, or use me like a therapist, or as you rehabilitation, an instrument of rehabilitation for people, no matter what. If I'm a woman, as a woman, like, they're just always gonna do that. But it's also even worse when the person is very male centered, and yeah, so they're really just, which I feel like every man is male centered, because they deeply care about other men's opinions, so they are inherently male centered. But yeah, but when it comes to other niggas, yeah, just people that are male centered using you as you know, their instrument of healing, when they're jumping between, or no, some like used as like someone that can dissect their trauma with them, usually is what I'm used as for people. And I don't really feel like doing that anymore for people that don't want to date me, and I don't want to date them either. And yeah, but also, yeah, but the male centered thing, I mean, also it's really annoying because like I really don't understand like what the reason of us even talking anymore is, because it's one of those things like, maybe like they expect me as a girl to care more about dating someone. Maybe they expect me, I don't even know what they expect. Like, what do these niggas expect? But anyways, like, that's what I'm really trying to figure out. But these relationships with me, all of my friendships, and no matter what, like, everything, all of my friendships and everything, every connection, like, where it gets to be too much, like, the relationship is always extremely unfair. And like, it's just kind of like, how come, you know, like, how come you get to use my, like, reactions and emotions to, like, build you up, you know what I'm trying to say? And you know what I'm trying to say? And also, like, how come, like, I'm always yours but you're never mine type of thing? Because that's just kind of what it looks like from the outside, and I just feel like that's not fair because you always win. And I feel like in that way, yeah, it's very rigged, and I'm just always take the other woman position from the start. And yeah, I don't like occupying that. And yeah, so I was thinking about this, and then I mean, what else? Oh yeah, and then, but yeah, so I know that I'm just not gonna have, like, any connections or see anyone. Like, I'm not gonna see anyone any type of way. And I know that I'm gonna be, like, ready to have a relationship that's valuable, but I'll only be ready to have that when I'm, like, 23. So I'm 19 right now, and I'm gonna be 20 in March. So, but I know that, like, I'm just gonna thug it out and be grateful for the solitude until I'm 23, because that is the only time where I'll be able to have a valuable relationship. And I know that nothing before that will be worth anything. And what else? So yeah, so that's until like 23. And I just kind of feel like I only crave being someone who, like, really centers, or not centers, but, like, is always desiring and always craving romance is super, like, a desperation that I don't want to occupy. But I have only craved romance because I feel like I need, like, a savior or something. And that's usually because some other type of relationship is disappointing me. So I feel like a romantic encounter will be the epitome of the epitome, or no, yeah, just the epitome of never being disappointed, even though that could also be the epitome of disappointment as well. But yeah, and I only crave romance when I am in a friend group that I find to be suffocating, and I don't like anybody in the friend group. I crave romance when I just don't like someone that I'm hanging out with, or I'm being abused by one of my parents, or someone just makes false promises to me or something. I crave romance because of that, and because I feel like that will save me from such lack. And yeah, and which is not necessarily true. I know definitely niggas that are in romantic relationships that have lack, and they're still chasing the nigga that they're already with. Don't even make any fucking sense. So yeah, but yeah, all of my sexual encounters have been completely separate from romance, and the only time I've had sex was a really immature way of like, it's not immature, well, it's like a really, well, it was immature, but like the only time that I have done that is because of like texting a random person and then just linking with them, and that is completely not romantic at all. And I don't know, none of those encounters have been good, and none of those people have even gotten me there, honestly. So honestly, like, I feel like niggas that are virgins are kind of iconic, because they literally know that exchange of energy is pointless unless, I don't even know. Like, they know that exchange of energy is usually useless, and the ego boost just like goes away and you just stop caring. But yeah, so the only relationship that I see that will have value for me in the future, which is the only relationship that I can have after 23, would be one that has where sex and romance work together, because that is the only that is a relationship that I see as valuable, and I don't see platonic relationships as valuable. And a lot of times when I tell people that I don't see platonic relationships as valuable, they're always on some bullshit like, friends are relationships come and go, but friends are forever. And it's like, oh, that's not, because if that was the case, then wouldn't you marry niggas that you're like, no. And I feel like they're just saying that because they see friendships as a backup for romance, but I feel like romance is actually a backup for friends, because friends is the thing that will fuck me over. And niggas like for 2024 are on some shit like, oh, I'm really gonna invest in my platonic friendships, and that completely makes sense probably for you, because you have probably invested in the opposite, and the cards weren't in your favor. But I definitely feel like when I get sent, all of my lessons have been sent in the form of friends. My lessons haven't been set in the form of romantic interest, because I found out over the course of my teen years what I don't find attractive, like what I don't find attractive about people. And I found that out through friends. Like, I found out, oh, I'm not attracted to this person because of this, and that's why they're my friend. But they're only gonna be my friend for a year because I really don't like them for real. And yeah, and limerence. Limerence is basically when you have like an unrequited or a crush on a nigga, and like, but y'all don't even talk to each other. It's just like a distant crush or whatever. So that's what limerence is. Limerence, I'm not gonna get into like the details of the events that would lead me to experience this, but I definitely I read like in a video or something that limerence, you only feel limerence because it's a condition where you feel like you have to imagine somebody who you know doesn't like you, likes you, or loves you, because you probably had to imagine that one of your parents loved you or liked you and they didn't. So you are healing from that and so you also see that as normal with love. So you imagine that you romantically imagine people that clearly don't give a fuck about you, like one of your parents loving you. And yeah, this can definitely take its toll. I mean, yeah, I don't think the people that you have limerence for, I don't think the niggas that you have limerence for are niggas that you actually like, because I just honestly couldn't imagine you liking people that you imagine liking you, but you know that they don't. Like, that's just kind of your brain's way of trying to ignore yourself, and you're trying to neglect from investing in your own spirit. But yeah. But yeah, so I learned all of my icks from platonic friendships. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I also learned that I also don't even like those people platonically either, because I'm very all or nothing, so I don't even really like them. I think I'm more of an acquaintance person, and I think I'll have friends in the future later on down the line, but like I'll be friends with my kids' friends' parents or something like that. But I'm not gonna be I am not interested in being people's friend. And the people that I'm friends with already knew this, and knew that I wasn't gonna stick around. And I just feel the need to abandon people. And I always abandon people and I'm always the one to leave people. And a lot of people want to stay friends with me because I'm probably the only black person that they know. And so they're like holding on to me or something. But I don't like being friends with people, and they should have known that. And they were sent into my life as a lesson to just, teach me what platonic connections are and teach me that I don't really even prefer it. And that's not to say that they taught me with my, what, like, not to say that they directly taught me what I want out of romantic connections, but I feel like they kind of taught me what platonic is, and that I don't like it. But yeah, it's really annoying to hang out with people gay because it's so embarrassing for them to just like say the most embarrassing conservative thing like ever. And it's just like, what was even the point? Also, I'll hang out with people and I'm sorry, but they will steal my personality. And like, no, because not only are men energy vampires, but people that are male centered are also energy vampires, because they'll steal my fucking personality and then use my personality to seduce heterosexual men. Like, basically is what they'll do. Like, they'll literally just use my personality over time, study the fuck out of me, and use my personality to center men in their life. And you know, because they know that I'm not on that type of time, so they are on the time of like finding their value from their encounters with niggas. So then they study me, and then they find the things that are attractive about women and shit like that, and then they'll absorb those traits when they find that they need to survive when they are hunting for niggas, which is what all they do. Hunt for niggas. Like, it's so embarrassing. Like, they just chase niggas, so they just absorb my shit, my personality, my spirit over time, and use it to seduce niggas. And they may not feel like that's what they did, but it is what they did. I'm actually only talking about one situation where I was friends with somebody who literally would pretend to be a girl to pull niggas. And I don't know, like, it's hard for people to see that they were absorbed in my personality. But if I'm the only girl that you hang out with, and then you pretend to be a girl to pull men, is that not you just... But yeah, what else? But yeah, so I do have to work on like not looking for a savior, and people that feel like they are a savior are not good. Like, yeah, people that like find people and are like, oh, this person is like meek and modest and docile. They try to find those type of niggas to save, and it's just like, oh, that's not. What else?